What's up everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to talk about which shoe is better between the Nike GT Cut 3 and the Anthony Edwards 1. Before we start with the comparison, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. Also leave a like and comment down below which shoe you prefer. With that being said, let's get straight into it. The first comparison will be the price. The Anthony Edwards 1 retails for 120 euros or dollars. The GT Cut 3 goes for 200. So a really steep difference in pricing there. And for me, the AE1 is the clear winner here. The next category will be the weight. Here it's a little bit different. The GT Cut 3 is really light. It comes in at 427 grams or 15.5 ounces in a size 14. Gotta keep that in mind. That's really lightweight for a size 14. The Anthony Edwards 1, this is a size 13.5. My usual size for Adidas, is extremely heavy and comes in at 642 grams or 22.65 ounces, which is crazy heavy. So big win here for the GT Cut 3. Now let's get into traction performance. Here it's really tight. The first two categories were kind of easy to decide on. For traction, the GT Cut 3 was very good. We had dust pickup, but it wasn't too crazy, and we had a really good bite on clean and on dusty courts. The same goes for the Anthony Edwards 1. A crazy good bite on clean and dusty courts, a little bit less dust pickup, and I also feel like that they just had a bit of a more aggressive bite, bit of a better stop on clean and on dusty courts. So I'm going to give the traction to the AE1 as well, even though the GT Cut 3 did a really good job. So you can't complain if you have these. But as I said, the AE1s just stopped a little bit harder and a bit more on point, so that's why I'm going to give the point to them. Moving on to the cushioning setup, also a very interesting difference or comparison for the cushioning setups. We have Zoom X here in the GT Cut 3, and of course we have Boost, Adidas' most premium cushioning, in the Anthony Edwards 1. And I'm a huge fan of both. I have to say, I haven't hooped with a full-length Boost sneaker in a while. They're crazy comfortable, good impact protection in the heel, and still low enough to the ground in the forefoot. The Zoom X, also very nice impact protection, lower to the ground in my opinion, a little bit at least, and also more bouncy. So I'm tempted to say I'll give this point to the GT Cut 3, even though the cushioning setup on the AE1s is really nice as well. It feels extremely comfortable. But the GT Cut 3, also just because the density is lower, it's lighter on foot as well. It kind of feels softer, more bouncy, and it feels like you get a little bit more out of it. Kind of have a bigger range of players you can cover with this cushioning setup, because it has good impact protection while still being low to the ground, while also being very bouncy. So even though I really enjoy the cushioning setup on the Anthony Edwards 1, I think that more players will be happy with the setup on the GT Cut 3, as it can cover more aspects than the Anthony Edwards 1. The next topic we're going to talk about is support. Also an interesting category. Two very different shoes, very different setups. So of course it's going to be different in both shoes. The lacing system on the GT Cut 3 works very well. It keeps you locked in. I didn't have any issues with heel slippage or whatsoever. And they have a plastic shank plate. Sadly, it's not carbon fiber or anything a little bit more stiff. Just a plastic shank plate. So torsional support and side-to-side movement in the shoe aren't the best, because you don't have that extra strong shank plate. I didn't really notice it apart from really hard stops and hard lateral movements. So support is still good, but not as good as on the Anthony Edwards 1. Here you can see it through the outsole. We have this X-shaped shank plate, and we have a great lacing system that keeps you locked down, keeps you in place. Something to watch out for though, a lot of people seem to have issues with the laces coming untied during their games or practices. I haven't had that problem personally. The only issue I had was that the insole, because it's not glued down, or not glued down heavily with Nike sneakers for example, it kind of wraps up on itself or rolls over on itself sometimes. That's annoying, but it didn't happen every time I was playing in them. So just keep an eye out for the insoles, maybe swap them out, and also for the laces, if they come undone, just swap them out. But apart from that, we also have an external heel counter, and as I mentioned, the shank plate plus the lacing system, and the material is also very containing. So the support category also goes to the Anthony Edwards 1. mainly because the GT Cut 3 is missing that carbon fiber shank plate. Moving on to the materials, we'll start off with the GT Cut 3 again. Very lightweight, very breathable, but also containing. So overall, pretty much all you can ask for from materials. I really like that they have those kind of flywire-like cables that reinforce the lace loops on the side to keep your foot on the footbed, which is something they definitely need because they don't have that shank plate. And something I also really like from the materials is how well padded they are. The tongue here is extremely comfortable. It kind of feels like an air pillow or something, or like memory foam pillow, not as thick as on the heel in the LeBron 20 or 21s, but kind of like that. Very soft and very light, and it's great so it prevents the laces from digging down into your feet when they're tied really hard. And also here in the heel area we have a good amount of padding. So overall they are very comfortable, also very soft, and they hardly take any time to break in. They are also very breathable. As I mentioned, there are breathability holes here on the side as well, which is very important towards the top of the shoe in my opinion. And just a very nice, soft and comfortable feeling on foot. For the Anthony Edwards 1, it's a little bit of a different story. We have 3 different types of materials. On this colorway we have kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, a Velcro, maybe a little bit material here in the toe box. Then we have this plastic upper, and then we also have the synthetic that's used for the top part of the upper. And it's also very comfortable. It looks really stiff. So when I first saw the shoe, I thought it will be a really stiff and kind of uncomfortable ride with them during practice. But it was not at all. Turns out they also need hardly any break-in. The materials are heavier. They are more containing. Not as breathable. It looks like they have great airflow, but actually there's another layer of the synthetic mesh that's used here underneath those breathability holes, or the honeycomb upper. That's the plastic upper. So breathability is actually not as good as it suggests. The tongue is fixed on the side with 2 elastic straps, so it won't be moving around like on the GT Cut 2, for example. So it's also very nice. But I think overall, just for the comfort and for the weight of the materials, I'll have to give this point to the GT Cut 3, just because they are lighter and a little bit more comfortable on foot. Also maybe a little bit more versatile. Just if you need something more containing, the Anthony Edwards 1 will be better. With that being said, overall, it's a really close battle. Those are 2 of my favorite shoes of 2024. I have these at number 3 and these at number 1 of my list. Make sure to check out that video if you haven't watched it yet. I posted it a couple of days ago with some other really nice options that released in 2024 so far. But as you can take away from what I just said, my pick is the Anthony Edwards 1. I like the design a little bit more. I like the shoe just a tiny bit more. I practice with them more as well. I got myself a second colorway. I have the Stormtrooper and the Velocity Blue. The GT Cut 3 is really nice, but also the price tag is just really high, really steep. So I think for the general basketball player, the Anthony Edwards 1 will be the better option. If you have the money, the GT Cut 3 is awesome, but in my opinion, or my personal preference, is the Anthony Edwards 1. With that being said, let me know if you want to see more of these versus videos. It was my first versus video. If you have any feedback for me, let me know down in the comment section below. If there's anything I need to improve or you want me to talk more on, or if there's another category you want me to add, just let me know. Also, let me know if you want to see more of these videos, which shoes I should compare next. You can see pretty much all the shoes I have here behind me. Also make sure to check out my Instagram and TikTok channel. There you can really see all the shoes I have. I also have my own website now. It's linked in the description box down below. You can find a list of my favorite hoop shoes. You can also choose some shoes for me to compare from that list. That's all I have for you today. See you next time for more reviews, comparisons, and hoop shoe videos.